Hey game designers, we are back and today we are going to be making cards like the game Boss Monster. For those of you that may or may not have played, Boss Monster is a dungeon building card game where you build rooms to attract heroes to come through your dungeon, and you can lure them in, and it's a pretty fun game. I don't know, it's been a while since I've played it, but I remember liking it, and I really like how they've designed their cards, and I think they communicate a lot of important information effectively to players. So we're going to use that game as a example in today's video. So just real quick, in Boss Monster, there's several types of cards. We're going to be focusing on just the room cards, and really we're using this great game to show how you can make games like this with similar information. I think they use a lot of information in these room cards that are very relevant to most games that game designers could be making. So we're gonna start with this. Let me explain some of what's going on in this card. We have the symbol for what type of room it is in the top left. We have the title, which in this case is Imp Temple. We have the subtitle, which is Monster Room. We have an image box, which is those three little imps there on the throne or whatever they're doing. We have the text box below that. In the bottom left, we have the health icon. How much health does the room have? Bottom right, we have symbols which tell you what type of heroes the room is attracting. And then the last thing is the card layout, which is basically all of the art around this card. I have set up three different cards, and I'm going to show you how to make this in NanDeck. First thing I'm going to do is open a new tab, and I already named it Boss Monster. What I'm going to do is get this starter code. I'm going to paste this starter code. This sets up my units to inches. It sets up my page to 8.5 by 11 inches, which is what I will print on. Card size 2.5 by 3.5 inches, kind of the standard card size. This links my Excel sheet. I've already linked my Excel spreadsheet to the file path in my computer, and I've also set up 4 different icons in my computer. I gave them a letter so that whenever I put them in my spreadsheet over here, this F will bring up the fire icon, as you can see here. So anyway, so I set up 4 icons, and now I'm going to do the visual editor. And first thing I want to do is let's see what's in our spreadsheet. Let's get the template in first. So this template is going to be an image in NanDeck. I want it the whole card, so that's good. I'm going to right click over here on image, double click on image file, and we want the template because that's what I have it named in my spreadsheet. I'm going to insert that there. I want to make sure this is proportional, and I want this PNG transparent. Alright, so we have our card layout. So now for each card I have the different layout or the template. I have a blue one, a purple one, a red one. So for the first card, it should be a red background, second card purple, third card blue. And as you can see, we have red, purple, blue, so that's working well. Let's go back into the visual editor. And this time we're going to add, let's add the icon here, which is type. So we're going to add an icon directive. We want an icons directive, not an icon directive. So now in our keys we can go to type, and now it should be, ooh, that's really little. Alright, we're going to confirm that real quick. This is our icons. It's completely large right now. And I want this up here. I want that much bigger, so I'm going to right click on icons. So this is the size of the icon. Let's make that like a 12%. Looks pretty good. And a 12% height. Let's go to 11% actually. That looks good. So we got that. Ignore these little lines here. This is kind of a visual editor bug. It won't look like that in our cards once we validate and build them. Now I want the title. Let's add that next. So this title is a text directive, so we're going to add a text. Make this about the size we want up here. And right click. I'm going to double click here, this text. And I want this the title. Confirm. And I don't like how small this is, and I don't like that it has the white background. So I'm going to put in a font directive. A font directive will let me change the way this text looks, but I need to have it above this text directive, so I'm going to drag it above there, right click, and let's make it, that's really big, maybe 17, about 15, about 14. Well, that looks good. 14. And transparent. That'll let us see the background. That actually looks good. I think I'm going to go with that. I'm going to confirm. And in the room card of Boss Monster, they had the subtitle below this. I'm actually going to put the subtitle here. This is a premium template that I had designed, so I kind of use these in most of my games, and I just like the way they look. So I'm going to use the information from this room card and lay it out in whatever way I think will look good with my card template, because it's what I have access to. So we're going to add another text directive. So I'm going to actually duplicate this object down here in the bottom right. It's probably behind my face. And I'm going to drag this here. I want to make sure this fits well. For this one, I'm going to right click. I'm going to have this left centered, or left justified. And I want this to be the subtitle. This is looking good. So the Ice Palace is a frost room. I want this font to be a bit smaller, so I'm going to duplicate this font object, drag it above my text directive that I want to modify. And let's say this is size 10. That looks perfect. Let's put it in the text box next. So again, we're duplicating this text object, right clicking, and this time we're going to put in the text. Let's do center, and we are going to make this as big as this thingy. And if I want to change the font type, real quick, this font directive is changing everything below it. All the text directives below it, it's changing. So I don't want it the same as my subtitle. So I'm going to duplicate this font object and drag it above. Oops, too much. Drag it above this text directive, which is the text box. And let's make this an 8. This is much smaller text. So let's add the icons down here. I think that would be cool. Let's put in an icons directive. Down here, I gotta make sure this is big enough for 2 or 3 or however many icons I'm going to end up having. Let's do right click. This is going to be icons. And again, they're small. We want them transparent. Oh, PNG transparent, though I think both of those work. We want them proportional. Let's just make them the same size as we did the other ones, so they kind of have some continuity with the top left and the bottom right. I'm going to confirm that. So that's looking good. Whatever I have in this icons column here is what's going to show up here. And we're on the 3rd card, so it's just going to show me the fire icon in this bottom right. I want this actually to be right justified, so it sticks over here. Let's do that real quick. We're going to right justify this. And now they'll start from right and go left the more we have. Next up, let's add the health. So the way I'm doing the health, I'm just going to have a text directive here to say how much health it has. So let's let me explain what I'm talking about. We're going to have the text directive here. And I want this to be the health. I want this to get the number in the health column. And I want it to be centered. I want to add a font, a different font to this. So I'm going to duplicate the font object and make this much larger, maybe even a 16 or 18. That looks good. So as you can see on the Boss Monster card, there's a health icon behind that. Alright, so I'm actually going to put in an image, and it's going to be the heart icon. Let's find this. I'm going to upload this premium health image that I have. I want to make this proportional and transparent, just like normal. And I want this to be above the text so that the text shows through. And actually, let's make this white. I want to make this white. So I'm going to come over here. I could pick a color, drag down to white. Now this is white. That looks cool. And I did something that kind of messed this up. I think I changed my icons. It should be working now though. Let me validate my deck again and build it. See if that fixes the problem. It looks like it did. So now our cards are looking great. I've got the icons showing up, how I have it set up in my spreadsheet. I've got the title, subtitle, text box, icons here, health, the type of room, symbol it is, which is a fire room. These things match. Now we need the text box. I'm actually, real quick though, before, I'm going to actually move this health thing down and to the left. I don't like how that's showing. So let's move this down, and then this down, and that should be much better. Actually here, I'm going to move these down. I just like the way this kind of helps the eye, focuses the eye in on the important information here in the middle. And we're going to add an image. Let's add the image. I save the image for last because the more images, the more file intensive things you add to your cards, the slower NanDeck will be able to validate and build the deck. So I try to do the big images last. I did this card template. The card template's kind of large as far as file type in NanDeck, but I did it first so I could lay out everything in accordance to the template. But now we're going to add the image here in the background. And I want this to be kind of the correct size. But because our card template is transparent, this will actually be able to show through even when we have this at the top. So I moved it to the top here, and that let the card template come on top of it because it does the image first and then the card template image on top of that because it's second. It's lower in the code. Now let's add the image here. We'll see what image I have set for these. It's just a random image from a game that I was working on a few years back. I like the way the image looks. So if I was going to be taking these cards to, let's say I tested this game out quite a bit, and I was going to take these cards to a convention or somewhere where I don't know the people to help get more people interested in playing it, I would likely make them look good with this type of art and the images, whatever images I have, just so it's not like pen and paper or, you know, all black and white. And there's nothing wrong with black and white and pen and paper. It's just sometimes people that don't know you won't want to test out your game if it looks like you just made it up visually. So let's confirm that, and I think we have everything. Let's right click validate. so that we'll validate and build the deck. And wow, look at that, we got our cards. That's cool. Let's card preview and see what we have here. We've got, I'm going to check here on our spreadsheet. We got the type, which is this icon. We've got the title, we got the subtitle, image, text box is working, the health we got going, the icons down here we got, and the template we got. So everything we wanted to get from the boss monster room deck, based off of the boss monster room deck, we have. So that is super cool. Now we can see that all of them, let's go back to the preview here. We can preview all of them and see that all three of them are exactly how we had it. And that's super cool. The really cool part, as you know from watching the tutorials, is all you have to do is go in here and add a new card, or if you change something here, like so let's say the fairy house, it was unbalanced as a magic room. So let's say you want to make it a frost room. Well, you just come in here and you change this word to frost, and you add, the I for the ice room, or whatever. Once you make a change here, you come over to NanDeck, you right click validate build, and then all of your cards are updated here, which is super cool. And I've taught you in the tutorial how to do different types of printing. So if you want to just print one card that you made changes to, you don't have to print the whole deck, which is super nice. And I've talked about this before, but I want to show you how to print on the back of these cards. Again, I covered this in one of the tutorials, but for this sake, at the bottom here we have zoom. I have a zoom set to 92, so it prints 9 to a page, and I can see it better in the visual editor and whatnot. But you can remove that if you don't want the zoom. The zoom will make the cards not quite 2.5 by 3.5. But I believe when I was making them exactly 2.5 by 3.5, sometimes they didn't fit very well in the sleeves because I wouldn't cut them out exactly right or whatever. So I added a little zoom to it. Anyway, this duplex and print directive here, I'm going to take out that apostrophe because the apostrophe says don't run this code. But we do want to run the code, so I'm going to remove that. And I'm saying right here I want to print cards 1 through 3. And then the 4th card I want to print on the back of every card. Now, you notice we don't actually have a 4th card here. I'm going to make one real quick. So I actually have a card back that I just made for my own cards. So I'm going to add that here. Found the file path, copied and pasted that into my spreadsheet, and then added the file name, which is a cardback.jpg. This is a JPEG. So .jpg instead of .png. And then now in NanDeck we have that. So what's happening is when we go to print our deck, we have the first 3 cards. These are the 3 cards we have. And then it's showing the 4th card, which is the card we told it to print on the back on this page. So whenever you go to print, you're going to print 2 pages to a page. So print front and back. So the printer, whenever you cut it out, it'll have this on the front and the card back on the back. Now you'll notice that I have this icon here on each of these cards that I do not want. I just want them on these 3. I don't want them on the back either. So it's easy fix. We go in and find that. Remember when we did this fix to have this background health icon, we just put in an image. Right now that image is going on every card. The range is not specified, so NanDeck thinks it should go on all of the cards. We don't want it on all the cards. We just want it on the first 3 cards, the cards that we want to make. So cards 1 through 3, we're going to click to validate and build the deck, and now it should only be on the 3 cards that we want to have made. Now when we go to print, you'll notice that it's only on the 3 cards. It's not anywhere else. It's not on the back. So that looks good. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you want to see more like this. And good luck making your game. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And I will see you next time. Bye.